this could be the most cosmopolitan city in Turkey. Welcome to İzmir! So this is Izmir, possibly the most cosmopolitan city in Turkey, with over 4 million residents. It was known as Smyrna for thousands of years until the name was changed to Izmir in 1930, a few years after the Greco-Turkish War. It's been a significant city since the Stone Age. The Greeks built the first stone structures here, then the city was taken by the Romans, who turned it into a major trading port, one of the biggest on the Turkish coastline, and it still is today. Izmir is one of Turkey's largest production and manufacturing import and export centres, and it's a significant hub for a lot of its international trade. So let's have a quick look around the city. A big portion of the population here are young people, and that's probably because of the university, but also because of the new modern developments. And of course, for young people, it's an exciting place to live. So this is the famous Saat Kulesi, what we would have called the clock tower, and it's sort of the centre of Izmir. This was built in 1901, and part of the funds were given by the people of the city. And of course at that time, this city would have been partly Greek and Turkish. And the old Konak Mosque, or Yala Mosque as it's sometimes called, are lovely buildings day and night. And because this area is so popular, it's a great place for the buskers and street sellers to earn a bit of extra cash. By looking at some of the stylish old buildings here, you can see what a lovely cultured place it was over 100 years ago, with many Greek and Turkish Ottoman and also French styled buildings like the Konak Pier, which of course was designed by a Frenchman anyway, and that was Alexander Gustave Eiffel, who of course designed and built the Eiffel Tower in Paris. On the pier there's a few nice restaurants. There's also a really big cinema, one of the Cinema Max, and also some of the bars and restaurants serve alcohol. There are a few lovely relics from over 100 years ago, and one of them is the ascenseur, or what we would call the old lift. This historical lift was built in 1907 by a wealthy Jewish businessman, and this has also got French connections. Firstly, the bricks to build it were imported from Marseille in France, But there's also a link with the actor and singer Dario Moreno. I love it. It even plays in music while you're going up. So there's a nice little cafe on the top, but what's really interesting, it's a fantastic view of the city. This lift is in regular use. Lots of people from around here use it every day, and it's free. And it's a lovely place to come and have an early morning cup of coffee. The music playing in the lift was by Dario Moreno, who was a colourful, almost comical musician and actor. He lived here. His biggest role came when he was singing and dancing in a film with Brigitte Bardot. And although Turkish, most of his fame came from singing in French. Due to the restaurant and cafe on the top, it is just as busy in the evening, as is the Dario Street below. For nice bars and restaurants, probably Alsancak is the best area, and there is one street which is particularly popular. So this is Kıbrıs Street, which is a busy shopping, restaurant, cafe and fast food street. At weekends it's usually packed, but there are several streets leading off this street to stylish restaurants, pubs and clubs. The most popular are probably Gazi Kadınlar Street and Musafa İzgür Sokağı, which is probably the liveliest pub street I have seen in Turkey. Just incredible. Amazingly, it's quite interesting that all the music is inside the pubs, so the street itself is lovely, and all you can hear is conversation with people. It really is an amazing street. It's probably the liveliest pub street I've seen in Turkey. And at the weekends, the restaurants and bars in the other streets are much the same. In one of the streets we saw the Varuna Gezgin pub restaurant, which we'd seen in other cities, and I was intrigued. I spoke to Timur, one of the managers, about it. And
yeah, it's a cafe.
You were telling me about the bar owner. His name is?
His name is Murat.
Yeah.
Murat Fıçıcı. He's an old maths teacher.
He started his first bar in Eskişehir
Yes.
here. And how many bars do you have now?
By now we have 10 bars, 10 restaurants. Actually.
Wow, they're bar
called
restaurants, aren't they?
Yeah. Of course, in 5 cities.
Yeah.
In Turkey. It's in Antalya, in İzmir, in Eskişehir, Istanbul, and Ankara.
Wow, and he's
In
thinking
5
of doing one outside in other countries maybe as well.
We are thinking about it.
Yeah, that's great.
I think we're going to do it.
But you said that it was quite nice that working for this guy because you get to travel as well?
Yes, of course. Because I had traveled 63 countries with him.
Wow.
Around the world.
So he's
and
quite a
also
guy, isn't he?
In Turkey.
Wow, maybe I need to meet him.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You should. Maybe one day.
Timur, thanks for your time.
Thank you too.
Right.
Thank you so much.
There are many celebrations throughout the year in Turkey, and a few of them are connected to Atatürk's achievements 100 years ago. But here in Izmir, Liberation Day, what they call Kurtuluş Günü, is taken to another level. And for a week around that date, Atatürk started the International Foire, or Fair, to encourage trade and relations with other countries around the world. And that's in the Culture Park. There are hundreds of stalls from companies, private schools and market sellers showing their goods. And hundreds of fast food catering people trying to feed the thousands who come here. But most people come here to see the famous people in the concerts which are on every day. And if you get to the concert area before all the other people, you might get a beanbag. And there's a fair in the foire.
When the fair's gone, the park resumes to normal, and it's a very pretty, peaceful place.
And in the park, if you wait quietly by a fruit tree, you might see the parakeets. And the park is so big you can see it very clearly from the castle. Many of the castles around the world were built around the 13th to the 15th century, but this castle was partly built by the Romans 2,000 years ago. They call this Cadificale, which means velvet castle. I have no idea why it's called that, so please comment if you know. Its thick walls surround a park area bigger than a football pitch. And in the centre is a late Byzantine cistern from around about the 14th century. The best part of the castle is probably the view from all sides of Pagus Hill.
So Izmir's got some lovely specialities, so let's go and eat some. We're all set. I've got my cup of coffee and I've got my sweet. So,
Which is an Izmir bombası. So Izmir is renowned for this sweet called an Izmir bombası. Now I always thought that these little, what they call a bomb, were just full of chocolate, but there's a choice of 4 different types on there, isn't there? 5 different types. So we're going to try a couple of them anyway. Which ones have we got? We've got the
ones of, I think, white chocolate and milk chocolate.
Right, go on then. It's all yours.
Oh, it actually feels warm.
Watch it don't drip out all over into your coffee. Is it nice? Shall I try this one then? It's a funny looking thing, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
This one's got white.
Oh, hang on, we'll have to swap.
Mm.
Oh. Delicious.
Are you sure? Do you want to share that one with me?
No.
Bak, İngilizce biliyor musun sen?
I spoke to the owner of the shop, Ferhat, who was a bit of a character, and he said that his dad had created the İzmir bombası more than 30 years ago.
So this is kokoreç, which is a delicacy all over Turkey, but especially popular here in Izmir. And kokoreç is the intestines, very clean intestines, of a lamb.
It smells delicious. So we're going to try some.
İçinde baharatlar mı var?
Baharatlar var.
Ah, ne güzel. So they put lots of spices and herbs in. Wow, ne güzel ya. Şuna bak.
Süper abi. Hoş geldiniz. Buyurun. Buyurun. Hello. Adrese gelmez değil mi?
Lots of herbs and spices.
Gel böyle yiyelim. İsmail.
It reminds me of bacon. So all I need is an egg.
And some brown sauce. You haven't left me much, have you? You've eaten nearly all of it.
You shouldn't take so long over your film.
Oh, I love this stuff. It's lovely. In some places they mix in onion and tomato as well, and they chop that up and fry that as well inside the sandwich. I know a place in Fethiye that does that. These have come as an ikram, which is a freebie.
Yeah, but it's mussels with
Rice.
which are very peppery usually. And you
Yeah.
squeeze lemon juice over it.
Best way to get it out is to use the other part of the shell, like a spoon. Nice, is it? İlhan, teşekkür ediyoruz. This is the popular boyoz, which everybody raves about round here. And that little shop where we bought it from was packed this morning, and it's been packed all day. But it's basically a flaky pastry.
Sorry, I'm wearing it.
Not flaky pastry, puff pastry. It's like puff pastry. Actually, this one's got a bit of something in it. I can't remember what it was.
It's got something in it. Let's have a bite.
Yeah. So how do you describe this? It's oily puff pastry with something in it. Either mincemeat or cheese. You just choose what you want in it. So what about travelling about? Well, there is one underground metro line which goes right across the city, although there are many new lines being constructed at the moment. And there's also going to be a link to Istanbul and Ankara on the new high-speed train network. They've also got a great tramway system, and we've used it almost every day.
The tramway is really useful for travelling around the city centre. Because it's above ground, it's a really cheap way to see the city. But you will need the İzmir'in card to use the service.
Restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Certain times of the day it can get quite full, so you have to hang on for dear life. Either that or you'll be in somebody's lap.
There are thousands of buses going all over the city, and they take the İzmir'in card as well. But you do need to know exactly where you're going. So this is the İzmir'in card, which is really very useful. It took us a little while to get this, so you may find that you're going to need someone Turkish or the receptionist at the hotel to help you get it. But it is a very useful card.
It's used on all public transport and events like the annual fair too. If you have any problems, there's always someone to help. Of course, if you don't want to be bothered with public transport, you can always just jump in a taxi, and they're very reasonably priced.
Some parts of the city are on the other side of the bay, and the easiest way to get to them is on the vapor, what we would call the ferry boat.
And that takes the İzmir'in card as well.
Isn't this exciting?
I have no idea where we're going.
You never do, Lily. And that's our captain. And our captain's name is Özkan.
There are several terminal ports including Passport, where we left from, Konak, Alsancak, and on the other side of the bay, Karşıyaka and Bostanlı.
It's actually a really nice boat trip as well, and you get a great view of the city.
And they run non-stop all through the day, from around 7 AM in the morning till around 11 at night.
Well, above the ferryport terminal is a very nice restaurant in Bostanlı.
Where we've got the healthy option.
Yeah, you got a green drink. And be aware, there's two types of ferry. And not forgetting that just outside of the city is Adnan Menderes International Airport, which is where I arrived in 1988.
What is here?
Hey, look what I've got! It's a martyr.
These are great fun for getting around.
When's it my go? Once you've got it registered and your card details are in, what I do is I put some money on the wallet and then I know how much I can spend. But if you keep one of these for an hour, it will cost you about 60 lira, which is around £5, £5.50. We've got the gist of it.
Oh, I don't feel very safe.
What do you mean? You always said I was a great driver.
Oh God, watch out, he's not looking.
Beep, beep. For bigger journeys, I'd recommend you get a taxi. It works out a lot cheaper. The ancient site of Ephesus, one of the most important sites in the world, is only an hour's drive from Izmir. And there's also Pergamon, which is not much further. And in recent years, they found a place called Yeşilovahuyuk, which has also put Turkey on the ancient site map, as it's over 8,000 years old. But most of the artifacts from all these sites are in the fantastic Izmir Archaeological Museum. So many fantastic pieces in this museum, but I think this is the star of the show. It's over 2,000 years old. Collection of coins I've seen, and they go right through the ages from thousands of years ago, and of course Byzantine gold coins as well. Just amazing. Just imagine a glass bottle surviving nearly 2,000 years. This museum's got some fantastic artifacts, and not just from Ephesus either. I was blown away by the very fine glassware and also the gold jewellery. One thing I love about the museums in Turkey is most of them allow you to touch the stonework. Look at that, it's fantastic. This beautiful building is the Ethnography Museum, but unfortunately they're doing some restoration work on it at the moment, so it's not open. There's no real beach here in Izmir, but the coastal parks are so lovely that they're much more popular than any beach.
This seafront park stretches a few kilometres and is lined with lovely restaurants. It's especially popular in the weekend evenings. And sometimes the local council put on a bit of entertainment.
There are some lovely monuments and features around the city, but the most impressive is probably this one. So this is the Gündoğdu Meydanı, what we would call the Sunrise Square, or the Cumhuriyet Square, some people call it. Many people call this statue the Gündoğdu heykeli. Its real name is the Cumhuriyet Ağacı, or the Republic Tree. And this statue was put here about 20 years ago to commemorate 80 years of the Turkish Republic. This has got to be one of the most intricate and amazing statues I've ever seen.
And less than 100 metres away from this statue is the İzmir Atatürk Museum. This stylish house, which was built around 1880, was originally owned by a carpet merchant. Atatürk often stayed here, and on display are many photos that I'd never seen before.
And they've got really interesting information, which is in English and Turkish. This is not just a fabulous museum, it also shows the style of what these houses were like inside. And it shows just how people were living in the 1920s and 30s.
And for me, most importantly, two of Atatürk's famous hats.
Some of the ancient ruins from the Roman and Greek period can still be seen at the Agora.
In Roman times, this would have been the city meeting place and forum, full of people and traders. Some of the ruins here are not accessible due to major restoration work.
This is the Agora, so what an amazing building. Just incredible. Look at all this, and it's all covered up as well. This whole place would have been completely covered. And also, this stone wouldn't have shown because, as you can see in parts of this, it's tiled. It was tiled or plastered. So what about the hotels? Well, the standard of hotels is very high. And in the region around the park area, that's the culture park where they have the fair once a year, there's around 40 hotels and they vary between 3 and 5 star. And we stayed at the Cordon, that's this hotel here, which was about £40 a night, but I'm sure you can get better deals on the internet if you look carefully. So while we've been in Izmir, we certainly found that the Al Sancak, that's this area, is the liveliest, and the most of the restaurants and bars are here. And we've stayed in 3 areas while we've been here. 2 were hotels, but we found this area being the most exciting. We thought we'd stay in an Airbnb, which is a rented apartment of somebody's. And if you've never used Airbnb, it's becoming popular now in Turkey. Just look at the reviews to see what other people have said about staying in the apartments from wherever they are. And of course, it's a great way of making some revenue. If you're Turkish and you've got a nice apartment, rent it out with Airbnb. Look at their website, because it's a great way of making some money, especially if your apartment's not being used. So that's it from the lovely city of Izmir.
So don't forget to like,
Subscribe,
and hit the notification bell so you don't miss where we go next.
Thanks for watching.